The Frog's Sky. A Guan's Fable. In an old well lived a frog. He was born in the well, and he grew up in the well. From the very beginning, the frog spent most of his days sitting on a damp stone at the bottom, looking up at the sky. The mouth of the well was perfectly round, and so, he thought, was the shape of the sky. As a result, from early on, the frog had come to a simple conclusion. The sky is only this big as the mouth of my well. And he never doubted it. Whenever the tadpoles in the well asked, "What is the world like outside?" the frog would point at the round opening above and say, "Seriously, the world is right here." As for the sky, he would gesture with his front legs. "You can see it yourself. Isn't it just this big?" The tadpoles would all look up. A small patch of blue sky, sometimes a drifting half-cloud. It all made perfect sense. And so, the frog slowly became the most knowledgeable frog in the well. One day, a grasshopper jumped to the edge of the well. It looked down and saw the frog sitting at the bottom. "Hey!" it called. "What are you doing down there?" The frog looked up, "I am studying the sky." The grasshopper paused. "Studying the sky?" "Yes." The frog straightened his chest proudly. "I've been studying it for many years." The grasshopper looked up, then down again. "And what have you learned?" The frog said solemnly, "The sky is round, and it is only as big as the mouth of this well." The grasshopper laughed. "How could the sky be that small? The sky outside is vast. You can't see its edge." The frog scoffed. "You've seen it?" "Of course," said the grasshopper. "I jump through fields every day. East is sky. West is sky. North and south, too." The frog shook his head. "Impossible." "Why?" The frog pointed upward. "Because the truth is right here. I see it every day. Look, the sky is clearly just this big." The grasshopper said, "But you are only seeing the mouth of the well." The frog corrected it immediately. "No, I am seeing the sky." The grasshopper thought for a long time, unable to respond. Finally, it said, "Maybe you should come out and see for yourself." The frog smiled. "Why would I go out? I've studied the sky for years. Do you really think I know less than a grasshopper that just jumps around?" The grasshopper shook its head and left. The frog watched it go and muttered, "Uneducated." A few days later, a bird landed on the rim of the well to drink water. The frog noticed it and asked, "I heard you can fly?" "Yes," said the bird. "High?" "Quite high." "Then you must have seen the sky." The bird smiled. "Why, I live in it." The frog became interested. "Then tell me, is the sky round?" The bird thought for a moment. "The sky has no edge like you think." The frog frowned. "How can there be no edge?" "There just isn't," said the bird. "I've flown over forests, rivers, mountains, and oceans. Wherever I go, the sky is still ahead of me." The frog asked, "Have you ever reached the end of the sky?" "No." "Exactly," the frog said triumphantly. "If you don't even know where the end is, how can you say you understand the sky?" The bird fell silent. The frog continued, "I am different." He pointed at the well opening. Not only do I know how big the sky is, I also know where its edge is. Look, it's perfectly clear." The bird looked down at the wall of the well. "That's not the edge of the sky. That's the edge of the well." The frog was silent for a moment. Then he shook his head. "You flying creatures always overcomplicate things." The bird said nothing more. Before leaving, it said, "If one day you come out, you will understand." The frog replied coldly, "When I come out, I will prove you wrong." Many years later, a heavy rain came. Water poured into the well. The water kept rising, higher and higher, until it reached the rim. The frog was lifted by the water and lightly jumped out of the well he had lived in all his life. For the first time, he stood on real ground. He froze. He looked up. The sky stretched across the entire world. No rim, no circle, no boundary, just endless blue. Far away were forests, mountains, and white clouds. Birds flew overhead. Wind moved through the grass like waves, reaching places the frog had never imagined. The frog could not speak. He stood there for a very long time. A very, very long time. The bird passed by again and saw him. It landed and asked, "So, do you see the sky now?" The frog said nothing. The bird asked again, "Is it bigger than the mouth of your well?" The frog lowered his head. After a long pause, he said, "Today, the weather is unusual." The bird froze. "What do you mean?" The frog said seriously, "Maybe the rain made the sky expand." The bird looked at him and said nothing. From then on, the frog began to travel. He went to fields, to forests, to valleys. He even crossed a wide river on a drifting log. Everywhere he went, he saw an endless sky. But the more he saw, the more uneasy he became. Because if the sky really was that big, then it meant he had been wrong all along. And admitting that was harder than living in a well forever. One day, the frog made a decision. He returned to the old well. He gathered ropes, wood, and planks. He worked for days. The grasshopper passed by and asked, "What are you doing?" "Moving house," said the frog. "Moving what?" "The well." The grasshopper thought it had misheard him. "You're moving the well?" "Yes," the frog said proudly. "The world is big. I should see it. But no matter how far you go, you must not forget where you come from." So he built a wooden barrel shaped like a section of the well wall and carried it on his back. Wherever he went, he placed the well down again. At night, he lived inside it. During the day, he still sat at the bottom, and he still looked up through that round opening at the sky. Later, the frog traveled far and wide. Wherever he went, animals asked, "Where are you from?" The frog always answered proudly, "From far away. I have seen the world. I have been to forests. I have seen mountains. I have crossed rivers." Young frogs would gather around and ask, "How big is the sky outside?" The old frog slowly sat inside his portable well. He looked up at the familiar round opening and said with certainty, "When I was young, I also doubted it. But after traveling the world, I finally confirmed one thing. Everything fell silent. The frog pointed at the opening and declared, "No matter where you go, the sky is only this big." The grasshopper stood nearby and looked up at the endless blue sky. A bird flew across the clouds. The grasshopper asked quietly, "Have you ever considered? Maybe the sky isn't small. Maybe you just never truly left your well?" The frog smiled. He tapped the wooden wall beside him. "Young one, I have been to more places than you. When you have lived as long as I have, you will understand." He lifted his head again. Through that small, round patch of sky, he nodded in satisfaction. Of course, the world is exactly as it always was. The well is not the problem. The problem is when you have already left it, but are still afraid to admit that the sky is bigger than you thought. So you take the well with you. Across cities, across countries, across languages, even across identities. And everywhere you go, you sit inside it again. Look up and call it the world. Some people leave home. Some people carry home with them. And some people carry the well. The well can stay in the past, or it can live in the mind. But the real horizon is never how far you have walked. It is the moment you finally dare to look up and see the sky beyond the rim. The frog's sky. A Guan's fable. The animals are imaginary. The lessons are real. Written by Guan. Edited by my daughter. A family project from one generation to the next.